Hi guys, Ian here, aka Huru Mantra. Welcome to my video and to my channel. Now this video is going to be the second in a series that I'm going to do on my understanding of the God names, the Archangels and the order of angels associated with each of the Sephirah on the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. And I did a video just a couple of days ago explaining why I was going to do that and what it would cover. I have made some notes for a change because there's a lot that I want to say, and I want to be able to remember it all this time and not end up saying things that I don't want to say and missing things I do want to say. Anyway, just a kind of a disclaimer, there's loads of academic information about the things I'm going to talk about, and I don't consider myself to be an academic or learned in the ways of Kabbalah. I am learning, and I consider myself to be a new student. But when I share with you, I do that because it's something that I have found out, something that has become meaningful to me. And above all, the Tree of Life and its teachings and its mysteries have to become personal to us. It's really no good learning all the academic stuff about it, but then it not meaning anything to you, it not living, within yourself. And as you can see, as usual, I have a dog friend who wants to be in on the action. No, down. So yes, this isn't going to be like an academic treatise on, the mysteries of the Kabbalah. It's going to be my personal experience and what I am learning and what these things mean to me. So let's start off then by reminding ourselves what Kether on the Tree of Life represents, just briefly. Because when we then look at the God names, the Archangels and the order of angels, hopefully we will see why the associations have been made. So prior to the intention of divinity to create, we are told in Kabbalistic teachings that Source, the infinite being, existed beyond and behind the three veils of negative existence. Now, these veils are not physical veils, but they are concepts of limitations of our understanding, if you like. And the true nature and beingness of divinity is so far removed from what we are able to understand right now in this, our physical form, that we have to approach it by the process of analogy. And Kabbalistic teachings tell us that divinity existed as nothing, as a complete absence of anything that we could know or understand, and entitled Ein, nothing, no thing, the complete and utter negation of all things, being, presence, without characteristics, and that this no thingness, this Ein, was without limit. It was all, everything, everywhere. Ein Sof. So when we look at the first manifestation of the Ein Sof in Kether, what we see is the outward expression of that nothingness. That nothingness focused to a point of manifestation, the first Sephirah on the Tree of Life, Kether. So from Kether, divinity flows out and eventually becomes that which is required to make existence. So when we look at the God names and the angelic names and the orders of angels, hopefully we will see that nature reflected. So let's look at the God name then. Now, as I mentioned in my earlier video, and I won't repeat myself, the nature of divinity is named through descriptions of its characteristics, its qualities, or its powers. It isn't named like a human name. And I say it because divinity is not male or female. It is both, and it is neither. So the God name attributed to Kether is, now my Hebrew is non-existent, so forgive me for my pronunciation, I'll do my best. Happy to be corrected if I'm wrong. The God name of Kether is Eheya, which means I am. And sometimes we will see Eheya Asher Eheya, I am that I am. Now, that's quite appropriate, isn't it? Because at Kether, divinity is still no thing. It is still no thing without limit, no characteristics. And so all that can be said of it is, I am, I exist, I am beingness. And what I find interesting about this is, if you go into Christian teachings, you might be familiar with the story of Moses, when God sends Moses into Egypt to tell the Pharaoh, let my people go. And Moses says to God, Lord, who shall I say has sent me? And this is the name God gave. Tell them, Eheya sent you. I am. And that is what Moses took to Pharaoh. No other description of divinity, none other was needed. I am. Now, let's also look at Kether in terms of supporting the end product of the Tree of Life, which is Malkut, which is kingdom, which is our physical existence. Now, I find it really interesting, right, when I read that physicists tell us that matter and existence, life as we know it, is not a thing, it is a state. It is a state of beingness. And statistically, it is just as likely not to exist in the next second as it is to exist. Now, in all probability, the sun will rise tomorrow, and next week, next month, next year, but statistically, it doesn't have to. Something holds existence together. And I believe that what that is the constant outflowing of divinity through Kether. Now, God's name, Eheya, I am, it's the never-ending now. It's the continual nowness, refreshing always and constantly. And this is, I believe, what keeps existence going. This is what makes the probability that the sun will rise tomorrow, because divinity keeps pouring out through Kether and keeps supporting the existence of manifestation on a second-by-second basis. So for the God name, to me, it fits perfectly. It is about the beginnings, it is about the purity of the nature of divinity, of the essence and of the beingness of it. Now, let's move on to the Archangel. Now, to me, in the same way that the God name fitted perfectly, so does the Archangel attributed to Kether. Now, for people with a Christian background, you will not be familiar, I guess, with this Archangel who is named Metatron. Now, there are at least two schools of thought as to the origins of Metatron, who is the first amongst all angels. And the first theory is that Metatron was created at the time that the other angelic hosts came into being. So it's pretty much been there always. And the second theory or teaching is that Metatron is in fact the prophet Enoch. Because in Christian scripture it says that, something along the lines of, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. So Enoch, according to scripture, did not die and hasn't died, in the same way that Ezekiel, according to scripture, hasn't died. And Enoch was transformed by God into the Archangel Metatron. Now, whichever school of thought you subscribe to, I think the rest of what we'll talk about is relevant anyway. So Metatron as the Archangel of the Tree of Life, the highest of the created angelic beings, being associated with the first Sephirah. The Sephirah, where divinity came forth from the Ein Sof in its purest form. Now I use the word pure in terms of undifferentiated form. And Metatron, amongst other things, is described as the Prince of the Countenance. And he is described as having a throne next to the throne of the divine being, and hence being called the Prince of the Countenance, because he is directly in the presence of God. Also the celestial scribe, the keeper of divine records, and we've talked in the past about the Akashic record being held in the Sephirah Yesod, in the astral. Well, that is the responsibility of Metatron, to hold the record of creation. And Metatron, associated with Metatron, is what's known as Metatron's cube, and this is reputed to hold all the geometric patterns used in the creation of existence. So in a sense, Metatron's cube is the Akashic record. They are one and the same. Everything that was ever conceptualized through Netzer and Hod, and all of the doings of humankind are recorded and contained by Metatron in Metatron's cube. Sorry about that. Another interesting factoid is that Metatron is also described in appearance as being a fiery pillar whose countenance shines with the brilliance of the sun. Now this takes me on to something we mentioned earlier in another video, where the true form of angelics is not humanoid. It is probably geometric, mathematical even, because they are energy beings. And if you look at how energy organizes itself, it isn't in this form, which is not the most efficient being if you're an energy being. So yeah, Metatron, pillar of fire, face with the brightness of the sun. And sorry, indulge me a moment, because if you also go back to the Exodus, where after Moses had said to Pharaoh, let my people go, and Pharaoh eventually did, didn't he? Children of Israel wandering around in the wilderness, not knowing where to go, heading for the promised land, and we are told that they were led by day by a pillar of cloud, and by night by a pillar of fire. Pillar of fire, Metatron. And I love it when all these links start to come together. So yes, to me, Metatron, perfect to be the archangel associated with Kether. Okay, so let's move on to the orders of angels. Now, the order of angels for Kether is, here we go again, Haoth HaKadesh, or something like that, which is Hebrew for the holy living creatures. And the holy living creatures are described as having each of them having a face, one like a calf, one like a man, one like a lion, one like an eagle, and having 6 wings, covered in eyes, and they exist around the throne of divinity. And it says of them that they don't sleep. Day and night they proclaim, holy, holy, holy. Okay, holy is the Lord. Now, when I first read this many years ago, I thought, oh, why do you have to be told, you know, that you're holy all the time? But now I realise it is not pandering to the whims of a vain divinity. The holy living creatures surround divinity. So in praising and saying holy, 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 my view is that the holy living creatures are communicating the nature of the divine being. And again, the highest of the non-angelic created spiritual beings, the seraphim. So they would fit well, wouldn't they, with Kether, because again we are talking about the first emanation of the divine outside of the Ein Sof. And the holy living creatures are said to be representative of the whole of creation. So when they surround the throne of divinity and are proclaiming the character of God, holy, 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 they are, to me, they are representing existence itself, because to me, creation, the world, nature, science, the wonders of mathematics and physics, all of that is the glory of the divine. It is an aspect of the character of the infinite being. So, yes, to me, the holy living creatures are representative of creation, which in itself and in its very being glorifies divinity. So, yeah, I found the study of the angels, the Archangel and the Order of Angels to be really revealing and really enriching my understanding of Kabbalah. And if you're at all fascinated by Kabbalah, I would encourage you to get some books and study yourself, because you'll be enriched and enlightened for it. Okay, well, this video has probably gone on for long enough, and so I'll say bye for now, and I'll catch you with the next video soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.